Hello, and welcome to another episode of Power On Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Taylor, and with me, as always, is my co-host, the dependable, the deplorable, the da-da-da-da-da, Sushi B. How you doing?
I'm doing well. That's actually a Korean word. Sort of. It means it's like footsteps running. Da 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 da.
Well, good that I can bust out the onomatopoeias in Korean there.
Yes, you are an international man of many languages. So.
Many sounds. So how you doing?
Not too bad. A little sweaty, but pretty well. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's been stupidly hot here, so been trying to avoid doing too much outside, just because it's really unbearably hot. It's
a lot of rain, unfortunately for us.
No, it's been
stuck inside.
Sunshiny, but like 35, 36 plus 70 to 80% humidity. It's not fun at all.
Sure. Nope.
But yeah, and also, welcome back. It is Greg.
It lives again.
It's me back from the realm of bad internet. Oh man! But as you may have noticed, I've got a new mic and I feel like a new man.
Yay!
Finally washed from his grave.
Yes, absolutely, man. So if anyone wants to know what happened, my internet was incredibly unbearable to the point that I just couldn't be in. So it's good to be back. I'm using my own modem. Got my new headset, so I'm all set.
Equipped and ready to go.
Even though that wordplay was pretty bad, I've got a new headset and I'm set. Come on.
That was really bad.
You're just returning. You need get your feet wet again. So, kiddie pool. Start with the kiddie pool.
Maybe the step up from maybe one of those inflatable college pools. Probably on my speed.
A slip and slide.
The crocodile mile.
Yes.
Oh goodness. But yeah, so this episode is going to kind of go a different direction than what we have been doing. That is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I'm going to be saying some things that aren't really helpful. But this episode here is we decided to want to kind of suggest other games to each other. Things. I don't know, I guess that seemed like a good idea at the time.
Be honest, it's just a lazy idea. we have nothing. Let's just recommend some games.
Nonsense! Oh, no. We have a lot of stuff. It's more so, it's behind the scenes, it's more so because we just don't have a lot of free time. So, yeah.
Dan, I think it's a little bit to sort of not necessarily get to know each other a little better, but definitely sort of find out maybe new things about each other and sort of like that. I mean, this might be a little bit of a personal episode again, so hopefully people will still be interested in it.
Yeah, and if you guys have games you want to recommend us, definitely let us know. Let us know.
Yes, particularly Taylor.
Yeah, because I haven't played anything, so.
And he loves recommendations.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm very stingy about that. So.
Well, we'll see if these pique your interest at all.
Dun, dun.
Hopefully, something will.
We will see. Yeah, I'll go first just because I said so.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not getting the spiel of I never go first kind of thing.
Taking the reins.
I will take the reins.
Do it.
I will do it and be the host I should be.
Be the hero of us all.
Yeah, right. Not quite, but this one's actually directed towards you, Sushi, in it specifically, and you know.
I hate it already.
You know what it's going to be because I've said this.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I've said this countless times. You need to play this, and this is Metal Gear Solid 3.
Okay.
Play through it. Just do it.
Yeah.
No, I've got to buy it. That's kind of the first.
I know, but I mean,
I am interested in that what is it, the Legacy Collection or whatever? I mean, because
Yeah.
I don't have too many of the Metal Gear games, so I could kind of just pick that up and maybe play through some of them on there.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it just came out in America. It's pretty good. It's pretty much the HD collection and Metal Gear Solid 4 together and a download code for Metal Gear Solid. So,
Mhm.
nah, it's pretty good. If you don't already have the other... A lot of people were excited for it, but if you already have the Metal Gear HD collection, you already have 4, you're pretty much double dipping.
Yeah, there'd have to be some pretty special reason as to why to pick that up if you already have all of them.
Right.
But no, I don't know. It's just calling to you, just for the fact of how heavy in the Bond motif it is. And I know how much you like Bond. I mean, we've kind of
Yeah.
talked about this a bit.
Yeah.
I love Bond too, and because of that, I mean, it even has some tongue-in-cheek comments about Bond in the conversations. It's really funny. Play it.
They should have got Sean Connery to be Big Boss. That
Well,
would
he,
have been cool.
well, he technically was, even though Kojima doesn't want to admit it.
In some kooky sort of way, yeah, he sort of is.
Maybe it was like the how the Game Boy Color game was sort of a what's the word I'm searching for? Like a it was almost like a retcon, right? Like it was
Well, no, that was just kind of like a
How was
tangent,
it?
like if story.
a possible story.
Right. Well,
Like
no.
maybe they could have done that and just put Sean Connery's face on all of like. The...
Well, what was it? What there was a game that what movie is he that they take that image from of his, Greg?
That's a good
Of
question.
Connor?
Yeah, they actually do. They make Big Boss kind of like how his face. It looks pretty similar to
But they
Like which
digitized
Connery?
it.
Like James Bond Connery or like older
Older
Connery?
Connery.
Older Connery?
80s Connery.
Medicine Man Connery or Zardoz Connery? Like how old are we talking?
It's that 80s. I mean,
So Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Connery.
Yes.
Okay.
so technically, Big Boss is
Ooh, Outland Connery.
so in some kooky way you could say so. But yeah, no, play the damn game.
Give it to me and I'll play it.
Oh well, if you had a way to play it in Japanese, then yeah, exactly.
Give me the system as well. I'll play it.
have fun understanding it then.
Dash. Just shoot, kill.
Right.
Next objective.
Not quite, but oh goodness.
I don't care. The story doesn't make sense anyway. So just...
Inside the context of the game, it's fine enough.
right. It's the whole universe, though.
You're trying to.
That's pretty screwy.
Oh well, it happens.
We love it.
Oh, but yeah, I'm gonna push it over to you then, Sushi, since I recommended that one for you. So.
All right. Well, what I'll do then is I will give Greg a recommendation. And the first one for you, Greg, is going to be Dragon Force for the Saturn.
Oh, nice.
And the reason why I'm choosing this one is I don't know which RPGs you've played. I mean, you've played a lot.
A lot.
And so
A lot.
yeah, it's hard for me to really focus on something that I think you haven't played. But as far as I know, you don't have this game, right?
No, Dragon Force is very, like, the quantities for the PAL version, which I believe are, like, non-existent. And
Okay.
but I've known of it for a very long time, since the 90s, and I've always wanted to play it. But for some odd reason, I've just never been able to. In my situation, the best thing I could possibly do, even though it would probably take away from the experience, is to import the Japanese version. At least I can play it, because trying to find, the PAL version is just, it's nearly treading Panzer Dragoon realm, so Panzer Dragoon
Right.
Saga realm, so
I would suggest that you do not buy the Japanese version though, because it is a pretty complicated game. You obviously could go online and find all the menu screens and everything, but it would just take you 3 times as long to play the game as a result. So, I bought the game in Japanese because I just wanted to try it myself at one point. I think I got it for $5, and I was just like, nah, this is just way too complex to even bother to try. It's not something where you can just follow the dialogue. It's not like that. So if you ever get a chance to play it in English, I recommend it to you just because it's a very unique Saturn game, and it's I personally, I don't really like the working design sort of translation of it, but it's just everything else about the game that's really interesting. And oddly enough, it's fun. Like it took me a while to get into it, but I really enjoyed it. And I could kind of see this being something that you would really hold in high regard if you did play it.
Yeah, I really like the art style, and I like the fact that during that time when the game was released, there was so many, you know, characters on the screen at once. It just looked
Mm,
really, really cool. And I've just seen how it works, how you have to aim for the commander,
right.
and just really cool, really cool
Yeah.
indeed. And it's always been on the list. And at one stage, I was really excited to try and get the Sega Ages remake on the PS2,
Mm.
but yeah, like I said, it's just kind of fallen off the wagon because, like I said before, there's no really surefire way to play it. But yeah, but
Spending
it's
loads
still
of
there.
money.
Spending a
Which,
lot of money,
right.
and but yeah, cool.
Yeah, that would be the first one for you, sir. So we'll
So
pass it to you on that note.
alrighty, and I've only got a few, and yeah, I think I'm gonna come straight out and say it to Taylor. We've already talked about this before since we both have Vitas. Um, I wasn't too sure about this game, but I recently beat it and I was pleasantly surprised. The game did tear my hair out more than once, but it is such a majestic game and I really like it. And that, of course, is Gravity Rush.
I don't have that
I
much hair to tear out, so
um, the reason why I recommend this to you is I wouldn't say it's in the same realm as Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, far from it, but it's the closest thing to it in terms of just the atmosphere and the art style. It's just really good. It's the world of Gravity Rush is so immersive, and the controls and how the game plays, it's so original. And I had so much fun playing it, except for some of the sliding mechanics made me not a happy chappy. And you'll find that out if you ever play the game. Try to turn while sliding. Yeah, it's not fun.
I was gonna say I heard that you said it's a bit disorienting, and honestly, that kind of
At first,
I I don't like that. I get nauseated really easily, so I'm not a big fan of when things kind of go like really out of whack. So I don't know if that's how it
I
kind of goes or not.
yeah, probably at the start, and it does take a while to get used to the gravity controls. And what I like is I wouldn't possibly call it RPG elements, but I like how the progression of the gravity abilities builds with I keep forgetting what they are. The currency of the game. If you trade them, you upgrade a lot of different skills for your gravity, and it does increase it. Like you increase your health, increase the rate of when you fall, and you can increase the rate you can stay in the gravity shift mode. It's really really cool, and there is a lot of secrets to explore around the city, and you got challenges, which is one of your sources of gaining the currency. So yeah, it was a great experience. So I just thought I'd recommend it to you. But yeah, it is very disorienting. So if you're not in the mood to feel like that, then yeah.
I see. I see. Hmm. Well, this next one I actually have, I'm going to do a reverse, and this one's going to Greg because I said so. Uh, and well, actually, this is an old game, and I love it to pieces, and that is the Magic of Scheherazade. I don't think you've ever had the chance to really play it, have you?
I know of it.
Yeah.
We've talked about it,
Yeah.
and that's why I haven't played
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Well, actually, I couldn't quite remember if you had or had not dabbled in it, but this game
Hold on.
is really weird. Hmm?
I'm just having a blank here. Is it NES or SNES?
It's for the regular Nintendo.
NES. Well, that's the reason why I haven't
Well,
played
well,
it. Well,
it's also, I don't know. I don't know very many people who have actually played it. This is how kind of what's the word I want to use? How impactful this game was that I only played it one day as a kid. and I never saw the game again. And hell, I didn't even see it until I came to Japan. But I played it through other means, and and I really, really, really enjoyed it. It's a crazy sort of like a Zelda, but it's also got the RPG elements into it, and I mean like Zelda, like top-down Zelda, and it can be brutally hard at points, and I don't know, I just love the music for it. The American, well, the North American version of it's really, really cool. I just like the whole kind of the Arabic setting for it and everything. It's just a really, really fun RPG that I think that you would probably enjoy, because you've commented on how, like, I showed some, like, the older ones, like Metal Max and stuff, so I figured that would be another one to kind of feel like you should whet your appetite for RPGs on a game like that. So.
Cool. Like I said, the NES is just one of the systems I never, even though I actually owned one for like, I would say 2 years, I never came across anything like that, so.
It might not even have been released in the PAL region, to be honest, so.
No. Outside of, like I said, there was hardly any RPGs outside of, even the more adventure type ones like, Zelda 2 and the Xanadu. That's how I pronounce it, people. And I should know. So, yeah, if one day if I feel like I want to play an NES game, I'll give it a try, definitely.
Challenge yourself. Give it a go. Trust me, that game is hard. Like, I'm not joking. The RPG battles that take place when they do happen, they will kick your ass, and they will kick your ass very, very easily if you are not A, prepared, B, well prepared, C, holy shit, you are very, very well prepared. It's a hard game. So
I see.
But yeah, I guess over to you then, Sushi.
No, sure. I'm going to do the reverse as well, and I'm going to recommend one for you, Taylor.
Uh-oh.
And this one is, I almost can't even put it into words. It's just awesome. This is a game that's on the NES. I don't know if you've played it. I'm just guessing you haven't, but it's called Power Blade. Have you ever heard of Power Blade?
Power Blade. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever played it.
Okay, well, it's in Japan. I think it's called Power Blazer. But basically, now I know you love Arnie, so you'll love the art in this game.
God.
As soon as you turn on the game, there is like an Arnold Schwarzenegger like Terminator image that comes up as the game starts. And the guy, his weapon is a boomerang, and he just throws. It's basically like Ninja Gaiden or Castlevania, but the guy has a boomerang basically. So it's a really fun game. But take out the sort of obnoxiously annoying things that are in those two games. They don't exist in this game. This game is just pretty, not really simple, but really easy to play and really fun to get into. But it's just the fact that it's got this sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger guy with boomerangs running around, and he can pick up, I think he can pick up to 3 boomerangs at once. And he can like get the power blade, and he like gets like a robot, I think it's a robot suit. I haven't played in a long time, but man, it's a really cool game. Not the best music, but pretty decent. It's from our good friends at Taito. They put it out on the NES back in the day, so it's a cool game. I presume it's probably not expensive at all in Japan if you can find it. I think it's Power Blazer in Japan. I think there's 2 of them as well. I've only played the first one, but I remember playing this as a kid for some reason. Somehow somebody had it or somebody rented it or something, and I played it, and I eventually found it for, I think, $10 years later, and I was like, "Whoa, Power Blade! This game's awesome!" I mean, the cover is the guy's face, and he looks like Arnold with the big sunglasses, and he's just holding this metallic boomerang, like, and he's facing you, and there's like nuclear factory behind him or something. It's just great.
That's pretty ridiculous.
So, Power Blade. I don't know what the Japanese box art would look like, but I hope it's just as ridiculous. So Power Blade or Power Blazer.
I see.
So over to you, Greg.
Alrighty. I don't have any reversal or any nonsense like that, so I'm just going to say it straight away. This is for Sushi, and
Sure.
Sushi has some, I would say, a very nice tasting games because from everyone I've talked to, it's very different.
A very
than
bizarre
what I'm-
palette.
Very bizarre palette indeed. So I'm actually going to recommend you a Saturn game, and this is not actually made in Japan. This is actually made in America by our good friends at Crystal Dynamics, and
Okay.
it's a game called The Horde. And
Horde.
The Horde,
I
and
think I've heard of
basically,
this.
the reason why I recommend it to you, not just because of the video game talk, is we also talk about a lot of different cinema and cheesy B movies and all that.
Mm.
This game uses what do they call it back in the day for the Mega CD? The digital video,
Okay.
the FMVs, and
Right.
they get these actors in this medieval setting. And do you know Corey Haines?
Yes.
He's the main character,
Oh no.
and basically, he's basically been called upon the king and to defend the realm from the evil horde, which are these red little goblins. Basically, the game plays like a strategy game to begin with, but then it's a action game where you have to prepare the township for the oncoming horde, and you have a time frame for when you have to put these traps and hire these mercenaries and all that. Then when the horde comes, you actually control the main character, who has this giant magic sword that weighs 3 times more than he does. So the only way he can actually swing it is with his whole entire body, and the sword sort of controls itself in this 3-degree angle. This is
Okay.
the thing I really like, is you have to use it sparingly, because if you spam that move, he basically keels over and gets dizzy, which leaves you open to, vulnerable to attack. And so you have to be strategic in how you try and kill the horde and how you set everything. It's a really funny, it's a really memorable game back in the day, and the cutscenes are so cheesy. It's great because not only do you have the king and then you have Corey Haines' character, you've got the evil chancellor who wants to basically kill the king and basically ruin the main character's quest at every opportunity. It's so good. It really is.
Horde.
It's really cheesy. Yeah, the Horde. I believe it was also on the 3DO, if I remember, which
that's
wouldn't be
not
surprising
surprising.
because it's Crystal Dynamics. So, but yeah, if you ever come across it, give it a try.
I presume it's not very expensive from the sounds.
I don't know how much it is because
I'll
I have
check
not
it later.
I have not played it since the 90s, really. And the great story about it is I've only played it twice, and I thought the characters sounded like ogres, but then I actually found out from the guy I rented it to that there was a massive scratch that affected the audio, so everyone talked like this.
That makes
And
it twice as good. I want that copy now.
And I thought that's how it naturally sounded until I got a different copy, and it just sounded normal. It's like, oh, I want the original copy. Where
Well,
everyone
if I
sound-
buy it, I'll just purposely scratch it so that it sounds like that. Just get a big nail and just...
But yeah, the Horde, it's different, especially for the time. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Alrighty, over to you, Taylor.
Oh, right. Well, this one I have is I thought of for Sushi, and we don't seem to talk a lot about horror games per se. So I don't know how you feel about them.
I've played the odd one. I mean, I've played a little bit of Silent Hill Origins, some of the Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness. Not too many, I suppose.
Well, this one, I don't know how feasible it would be for you to get a hold of, but I think you should try out Fatal Frame, Crimson Fly.
I've actually seen my friend play it. It was pretty interesting.
Okay. Which version of it? Was it Crimson
It
Butterfly
was-
or?
Crimson Butterfly is the second one, right?
It's the second one redone that I was.
Oh, okay.
Because
I think he was playing Crimson Butterfly. The guy was obsessed with the series, though. I mean, he bought all of them that he could get his hands on. So
Okay.
I presumed it was that one.
Okay, well, I played through the Wii one not too horribly long ago, and I don't know, it has that older Resident Evil vibe to it, but just a lot more terrifying because you don't have boom boom sticks or anything. And
Right. You got a camera.
You got a camera and you've got prayer. That's about it.
Right. I remember it had really a neat effect with it being really grainy looking, like an old camera picture.
All-time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah, I think that some of the little nuances to the game or things that you would kind of really like to see, stuff like that, and just kind of how creepy the game is. It's just a
It is, and I know from experience because I actually got the Xbox version this year, and then a couple months later I found a cheap PS2 copy of Fatal Frame 3. So, and I'm not a horror guy, and I've always had an interest in Fatal Frame, and I don't really like horror games, so that goes to show.
Nice. Well, I think the Wii one is not too hard to come by, if I remember. I could be wrong, but I thought that one was not really well received, so it was sort of like a budget game after a short while.
I don't know. I think that might be a different one, to be honest. I don't know if
Could
I don't
be.
know
I
if
don't
the Wii version of Crimson Butterfly made it out of Japan.
Yes, it
Did
did.
it?
They call it the UK copy. I think they even printed that on the box.
Ah, jeez. Well, there you go. Go PAL or go home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that. I just because I don't hear it talked really about often, so I figured it'd be something to kind of dabble into. Is more of the horror kind of things. So
Yeah, it definitely seems to be one of those fringe type franchises that there's some people that are just completely rabid about it, but most people just don't even know it exists.
right. So yeah, then over to you, there, Sushi.
All right. Well, I mean, I have to counter Greg with his The Horde with an equally terrible game on the Saturn, and well, this one the action part of the game isn't bad. It's just a very bizarre game, and it's Mr. Bones for the Saturn. Now, I don't know if you've played it, Greg, but
No,
it's
but I know. I know of it.
It's got some of the worst acting I've ever seen ever in anything. Like, it's that bad. There is like the beginning of the game starts with this magician guy or something, and he's casting a spell, and they've got it's just so bad. I can't even put it into words. I'll have to show you guys. Well, at least maybe Taylor, if you haven't seen it. It sounds like you have, Greg. But it is so bad. Like, it's the worst D film is better than this, pretty much. Like, it's just so bad. It's just that bad. Like, the production is so low but that makes it funny. The actual game itself isn't bad. It's actually kind of a kooky platform type game that's pretty challenging, but kind of neat. It's featuring a lot of rock music, and Mr. Bones can play his guitar and stuff during the game. It's just such a weird game. Like, Mr. Bones has blue eyes for some reason, and all the other skeletons have red eyes, and he's trying to sort of rescue them, I guess. It's just, it's a weird idea of a game, and it's from our good friends at Sega, I guess. So, I guess.
Which is weird for them.
Yeah, Mr. Bones. Saturn exclusive.
Yeah.
Needless to say.
I think
it will not be appearing.
Yeah, I'm saying it is going to be exclusive forever.
So I think you should try it out, though, Greg. It's a pretty strange one, but I think you might like it.
If I could get it for cheap, if I come across it, yeah, sure.
It's a weird game. Sometimes it goes for like a lot of money, and then sometimes you'll go on eBay and people are selling it for $10. Like, it's a weird game with that.
Usually when it comes to Saturn games outside of RPGs, I usually just try and find them out in the wild at retro game stores here in Australia, because I found a few for really cheap. So hopefully it'll be the same.
Nice.
Hopefully.
Nice. Well, good luck getting Mr. Bones.
Yeah.
And I'll send it back to you on that note.
Alrighty. Now, with the list that I did, I didn't have one person in mind. Usually I'd throw this at either one of you, so I'll probably go Taylor this time. And we've actually already talked about this, and I know how much you love the top-down Zelda games, like you love Link's Awakening and all that, and I do want to recommend, again, Golden Axe Warrior. I think it's actually one of the best Zelda clones out there, and I played it recently, and I forgot how damning that game is. It's really challenging, and the reason for it is the bosses. Holy shit! If you thought the bosses in Zelda were hard, you ain't fucking seen anything. You know? It's just, whoa. But it is a really good game. It just follows the same schematics as the old Zelda does. I really like the world of Golden Axe Warrior, even though it's mainly made up of trees, but you actually get to chop them down when you get the axe, which is really cool, which plays into it. So you go into each area and you're chopping down the trees to know where the secret stairs are. And then it's got the uncertainty whether the room you'll go into will help you or not. Because sometimes you'll go into like the stairs and someone will hand you money. And sometimes you'll go down there and they'll take money from you. So it's very random. And sometimes it will be a shop you can buy stuff. So yeah, and it follows the same schematic way. Every dungeon you go into, and the dungeon is very reminiscent of top-down Zelda. You'll get a new item, and you have to use that item to progress in the game. So, and the weirdest thing is I thought this game was made in Japan, and it wasn't. That was the biggest surprise for me. I think it was actually made in America. And there is some nods to the older games, like Gilius Thunderbeard is in there as a character you have to talk to. And I love it when you go talk to him because it actually has the Stage 1 theme from Golden Axe redone for the Master System. When you go talk to him, it's like, yeah! I don't want to get out of the room, it's so cool!
So it's like a 3-note song. Because the music is so bad on the Master System version. So is Altered Beast, so terrible on the Master System.
It's much better than the Master System. It's like they took the Mega Drive version and turned that into 8-bit. Much better. So, yeah. I like I said, I really recommend it if you love Zelda games.
I see.
And Taylor, you already own that since it's on the that Sega collection there. So
yes,
that is true.
So that's a bit of a incentive, maybe. You don't have to buy it.
No,
that's always an incentive. This is something you already have, dumbass. Why haven't you played it? Thanks.
You're welcome. Alright,
well,
throwing it back.
Yeah, back to maze. Back to was. Fwa. But yeah.
Out with it.
But this is for both of you, because just in case, because I don't know if you've actually played it, and I've joked about this. I love this game, and no matter how repetitive the music is and how little variant of music there is in the game, god damn it, you people play Fire and Ice.
Do you know what? I said to myself, there'll be one game that Terry will recommend that I'll know, and it's Fire and Ice.
Of course, because it's a fun game. It's a nice puzzle game. It's always good to kind of step out of playing other kind of game genres that you're used to and stuff, just kind of dabble in something else. And I don't know. This is a puzzle game that I played as a kid that I just really, really latched onto and enjoyed. And I would say some of the puzzles are a little bit challenging, but nothing. It's not Adventures of Lolo 3 challenging. You won't get like a third of the way through the game and go, fuck this. This is way too hard. Nothing like that. Thank God. So, because I love you, Lolo, but shit. But seriously. But no, like, it's the music's not like the greatest, but it's just a fun little game, and plus you could at least say you beat the sequel to Solomon's Key, because that game is brutal. so yeah. For the both of you, Fire and Ice gets to it.
I remember playing Solomon's Key in the arcade like a long time ago and not really understanding it as I was too young. I was like, this is hard.
Right, yeah, it's definitely not nearly as devious as Solomon's Key. Thank God.
I think, again, for me, like Magic of Charizard, if I'm in the NES mood, sure. Which is, like I said, rare for me to do these days. Was it the last NES game I played, or I should say Famicom game, was the whole 3 East games on there?
That'll make you stop real quick, then. There are good NES games, thank you.
There are plenty of good NES games.
Oh, there are. It's just, for some odd reason, I just don't have that connection to the system as many other people do. My heart was with the Sega Master System. So
fair enough, I know. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a suggestion episode. So I'm
absolutely
suggesting. So over to you, Sushi.
All right. Well, the next one here I have is for you, Taylor.
Ooh.
And this one is going to be for the original DS. Now, I know you don't have a very vast library for the DS, and I know you like your Fire Emblem. And I guess, Greg, this could be for you too if you have not played this. And I'm recommending Advance Wars: Days of Ruin. And I'm choosing that one because it kind of balances the system a little bit better than the previous game, which was Dual Strike, which I felt was a little bit wonky and a little bit unfair at times. Uh, Days of Ruin's got a really nice presentation. It doesn't go for the anime look as much as the other games do. It's kind of going for a little more mature look to it, and it plays really well. It's got really good graphics. The music's not anything to really scream about, but it's decent enough. It's mostly about the game mechanics, and you guys like Fire Emblem. I don't see why you wouldn't like.
I mean,
Advance Wars.
it's made by the same team. Damn it!
Right.
Well, I've
So just-
tried playing some of the other Advanced Wars games on the Game Boy Advanced, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Black Hole Rising. Or something. It's
Yeah,
the second one.
I've tried playing Black Hole Rising, and I did not.
Right.
That one just didn't. I like strategy games. I just have a hard time getting into more using like modern equipment and stuff like tanks and airplanes and stuff. It's which is because it's kind of the point where I kind of get bored in games like Civilization. I'm just kind of like, that's cool, that's nice, but I
Right.
just
You like when they're beating each other with clubs
Yeah!
at the beginning.
they gotta be close.
What do you mean catapults? This is too advanced for me.
gotta keep it warrior.
Trebuchet pulls up.
Yes. Oh, Trebuchet's here.
No.
I was big into the first game. I owned that for a long time, and I think what happened afterwards is because I got Fire Emblem. That came out in the US, and I loved that so much. I couldn't play another Advance Wars game because if I wanted to play something strategic, and I would always go to Fire Emblem. But
I'm sorry. Go.
no, that's it. I have had some inklings to go back and try the other ones, especially the ones on the DS,
Because
but I just never got around to it.
that's what I've heard is a big fault with some of the games in the series is that it is strategic to a point. However, you usually need to do a certain kind of method of beating the stage kind of thing, as opposed to
Sort of. I found Dual Strike to be like that. Dual Strike has just a lot of just unfair things happen, it seems like a lot of the time. You'll be winning the battle, and the computer's just like, nope, you're not going to win anymore, and then they just take over. Whereas Days of Ruin didn't feel quite as bad for me, and I just think it flowed really well. And it's got a decent story. It's kind of interesting.
That's the post-apocalyptic kind of...
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, they wipe away all the sort of anime stuff, which I thought was actually a good move on their part.
I see.
I think one of the most appealing things of the War series is I like how it's had a long history with Nintendo, and they have some of the best advertising for that series. Have you ever seen some of the ads for the games?
They're
not.
probably...
The Famicom Wars? Oh, it's so good. And then the GBA one? Yeah, it's fantastic.
Now, is this like Legend of Zelda good, or is it actually like good?
Well, for Famicom Wars, they got some real Marines to basically scream, Famicom Wars! No. It's so catchy!
So it's like Dancing Zelda, okay.
Yes. Yeah, you have to watch it. It's good old Nintendo advertising in the 90s. You can't beat it.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Well, let's move on back to you, Greg.
Alrighty. Man, I'm on this huge Saturn kick this episode, just recommending Saturn after Saturn after Saturn. This is a game I think everyone should play because it is incredibly bizarre. From the creators of Landstalker is a game known as Dark Savior. Has any of you played this before?
Come across it, but never played it.
Nope.
It really... When I found it was made by Climax Entertainment, I was a kid in the candy store because the only other game I played was Landstalker, which is one of my childhood favorite games. So I expected it to be the same. Now, the thing I have to say, if you're expecting Landstalker 2 playing Dark Savior, you will be severely disappointed. It's very different. I think one of the things I've always loved about the game, I always tell everyone about, is the fact that in the opening area where you're on this tanker and you have to get to the captain's basically the captain's chamber before the time run. Well, not before the time runs out, but how fast you get to the captain's chamber determines the story for the entire game. So there's like story number 1, story number 2, and story number 3. The slowest time will get you story number 1. The medium time will give you story number 2, and the fastest time will give you story number 3. And what I loved about the game is it would have the same characters, but depending on what you know how fast you get to the captain's chamber and save him or not, severely changes the outcome of the entire story, to the point that some characters that would be your friends in one story would be your enemies in another. And I was like, what is going on? You know, it's one of the most bizarre games ever. Now, the battle system is also one of the most bizarre things ever, where it's almost like a fighting game in that isometric view. This is the point where you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But the other bizarre thing is every combatant that you fight, you actually have a chance of capturing them and making them a part of your party. in the game, there is no random battles. You fight characters, and that's it. And you can either kill them or you can capture them. Now, when you put them amongst your party, it's not really a party system. It's more of a character select. So you can have the main character or the character that you've captured. And yeah, it's really weird. I love the music. I like how some of the games end. The third story is really good because it's a two-parter. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. The thing that makes it reminiscent of Landstalker is that isometric view that made Landstalker famous, except it's got those Saturn graphics, it's got some 2D, and it's got some 3D. Yeah, it's a different game, and I thought I'd recommend that to the both of you if you ever come across it.
Nice.
If you're unsure, just watch a video on it.
There you go. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry?
No, I think the one thing I can recommend, if you love Landstalker's music, I can probably recommend that you'll like Dark Savior's music as well. So, alrighty, back to you, Taylor.
Okay. Well, actually, this is going back to you there, Greg, because I want you somehow to be able to play through all 3. I know one was available, but somehow get the other 2. To all 3 episodes of Xenosaga. Yay!
Yeah, I will. That is on my list. Trust me.
I know it's on your list, but I'm saying make it double.
Well, let's just put it this way: it's higher than pretty much all the recommendations so far. So it has been for a while. I mean, I do own I own one, which is really cool. I just have to get the setup of buying the Transformer, which is $150, then get an American PS2. So if I'm going to play it, I have to have that mentality that I'm saving money for basically a current day console around the 200 mark. So
That's
that's
a lot.
Something among that setup. But I definitely want to play one. And across the board, ever since I've come across the YouTube community with all my RPG friends in America, they hail episode 3.
It's so good.
They pretty much gone out and said it's one of the top 5 best RPGs on the PS2.
Seriously, one of those games, like, they had to, of course, rush some things because originally it had been set for 6 episodes.
5.
Like
6 or 5,
Yeah.
yeah. I was following the story because I remember getting, I used to buy magazines with DVDs in them, and they would always have trailers, and this was way back before the, YouTube and all that, and I saw this video of Xenosaga 1, I was so hooked, because some odd reason it just reminded me of Phantasy Star, and I was just like, I want to play this, and of course it never came out until 2. Thanks, Namco.
Hey, you got a video. You got a video of one. That's, I mean,
I got the 5-hour video of 1.
Better than the freaking 80-hour video that one actually is.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say that some people, that you got a better deal there. You didn't have to.
I would suggest yes.
I would suggest no. I like one. One is nice. a nice setup. Personally, I have a special little place for one. It was one of the first few games that I really kind of just started buying on a whim because I seen it in this where the fuck, like a Circuit City. I don't even know those things still exist, but I seen it at a Circuit City, and I was like, holy shit, this is a random game. I have no idea of anything about this other than the fact it's got Xenophores, and I was like, well, shit, I loved Gears. Let's give this a go. And I gave it a go. Really enjoyed it. Played through 2. I liked it. Not as much as 1. It is kind of kooky. If you do not understand the battle system, you will be dying a lot. And 3 is just 3 is one of those games that I did not want it to actually finish. It's one of those few games that I just did not want it to want to finish. It was just like, oh man, this is so good, and just the music's so good.
It
Kojima
is.
did such a great job with it.
Yeah, it's one of Matsuda's best soundtracks.
No,
I've
for
listened
3,
to
no,
most.
Matsuda doesn't touch 3.
Oh, what does he
He
do?
only does 1.
Who was it for free again?
Yuki Kajiura.
Oh, yes.
She does a really distinct style with like a kind of this electro trance, but electro and opera classical bits to it, and it's just so good, so great. Play.
I've listened to most of the music and that 5-hour video. I enjoyed the story. It is, you have to get your head around it more so than most other RPGs, but that's why I love RPGs for the complex storylines. I love my simple RPGs and I love my complex RPGs, and I can definitely say Xenosaga is one of those complex RPGs I really do appreciate.
Yeah,
And
I don't know if it's as complex as... I don't know if it's... I wouldn't say it's...
There's a lot they cover.
Well, there's a lot...
There is.
That doesn't mean it's complex. I think there's a lot of
In
information that gets thrown at you, especially in 3. 3 has this encyclopedia that kind of just covers a whole bunch of shit that you just read, and you're just like, holy god, this is really cool, really detailed, but it's so... I don't want to say unimportant, but it's just like, man, if this would have actually gone the full distance. And
I will say this now. I did I think it was the top 10 RPG villain theme videos. Even though I've only played like a bit of 2, I've watched the 5-hour video and I've watched the anime. I think Xenosaga is one of the best villains ever with Albedo.
Albedo's
He's
crazy awesome.
he's just one of the best villains in a video game. Oh man.
Really, really.
So
yeah. So, over to you there, Sushi.
yeah.
All right. I will give another one to Greg, and since he absolutely loves the Nintendo Entertainment System so much, I am going to offer a wonderful classic game for him, and it will be Total Recall on the NES. Now, Taylor, have you played Total Recall at all?
No.
It is one of the absolute worst pieces of shit games I have ever experienced in my life.
I can't remember, but is it made by LJN?
Could be, or Acclaim, one of the two.
I don't know. Oh, I think it might be Acclaim. I can't
That's
remember.
one of the two. I don't really care who made it, because they shouldn't have made it. It's basically, it takes everything that you liked about the film, or perhaps about the original, what is it, short story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just absolutely shits on it, like in every way possible. You get Arnold Schwarzenegger, but not really. You get like a guy in a weird green jumpsuit that gets attacked by random dog things that come out of alleys, and random things kill you pretty much like instantly because you have no defense except this cheap little punch move. And oh, it's so bad. Greg, you need to go on eBay and buy this. You need to spend your money on this game. It's so bad. It is so ridiculously bad that I think Greg should buy it. Because it's that bad.
Well, maybe someone should donate it to me, because that'd probably be more the believable
That game should have been donated to everyone. That should not have been sold for any money at all.
It should have been
that
stuck.
bad.
It should have been stuck on the VHS tape.
Oh, it should have been. It should have been a stocking stuffer for every child in the world that has been a bad child.
You're cruel,
And
twist of
thinking
fate.
like, oh, this movie was awesome. There was so much blood, and remember when Arnold stabs through that guy through the neck and everything?
Yeah.
And then pop in a little Total Recall, and you're in for a wild ride.
Was there ever a game for the Running Man?
I don't
I
think
don't-
there was for the Running
I
Man.
don't think it was, but geez, wasn't there a setup for a game?
There certainly was. It was called Smash TV.
Yeah. Well
That's pretty
played.
much the
Well played.
same premise. So, yeah, Running Man could have done something as well. That would have been a good one probably, but yeah, it essentially was like Smash TV.
Sounds
But
better.
Total Recall.
Sounds better than
That's
Total
pretty
Recall.
great. Oh man, Total Recall is just so bad. There's a bunch of those Arnold ones that are pretty bad. Like Predator was bad, and
Yeah.
what are a couple of the other ones? Terminator 2 was just crap. Like it looks okay. Like you see it and you think, oh, it's not that bad, but the hit detection, everything is just so bad. It's just terrible.
I can't remember what it was. It might have been Predator or Predator 2, but I played it on the Master System. That was so bad.
Yeah,
And I don't say that much about Master System games. Usually I say good things. So
yeah.
thanks for bringing that out.
Dances with Wolves on the NES probably would have been better.
They should have made a Jingle All the Way game.
Oh, they should have. That would have been
Wait a
easy
second.
product placement and everything.
That was 1997, 98, because I love Jingle All the Way. That would have been on the PS1.
I don't
would have
care.
been a great shitty PlayStation 1 game.
It'd have been amazing. It'd been so
No, it would have
amazingly
been
bad.
absolutely amazing.
Turbo Man.
The sequence where he goes and fights all those Santa Clauses would have been just great. You'd get to punt the little mini midget guy. He tries to like nibble on your ankle and stuff, and then the big. Actually, that guy was a wrestler. His name Paul White, I think is his real name. But yeah, and he comes and
I'm gonna deck your holes, bum.
a pretty good sequence for sure. I'm not a pervert. Imagine that cutscene.
I need a Turbo Man.
Oh man.
Oh, that game, and it would have been, it would have had the voice acting. It would have been amazing. It would have been so good.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
You
missed
would
opportunities.
you would either get Arnold or you would get, I can't remember, it's not Dan Costello. Whoever does Rainier Wolfcastle's voice in The Simpsons.
It might be Costello. If it's not him, then it's Harry Shearer, maybe.
Or it would probably be Hank Azaria.
It could be. It could be it's one of those. They pretty much do everything on that show. So
Yeah, that or in a fucking Eraser game. That would have been...
yeah, but Eraser would have been cool because that movie was actually decent.
Yeah, that's what I was...
You would have been able to kill the crocodile, and that gun would have been amazing because you get to like shoot guys through buildings. and
Yeah,
stuff.
seriously.
Oh,
Come on. Damn it.
yeah, Eraser would have been a good one.
Ah.
Jumping out of the plane, shooting the plane down with a handgun. That's such a good movie. So fun.
Have you ever played the True Lies video game? Because I love True Lies.
Oh, it's bad. The Super NES one is terrible.
I've only seen the Mega Drive one and it looked bad.
Oh, man.
Arnold's got this weird little like army roll move. It's just it's bad. You can't shoot anything in the game. It's so bad.
Oh.
Yeah, Arnie's got some bad ones. I don't even think he's got any good ones. Unfortunately, maybe the Terminator 2 arcade game was okay, I guess, but they're all pretty bad. But yeah, let's go back to you, Greg.
Alrighty, I don't have too much on my list, but one that I can recommend this, but knowing your tastes, there's some things in this game that may not be your cup of tea. But to anyone, I don't know if you guys have ever played a roguelike game. I can say this now. I'm not like too big on roguelikes, but if you're the guy who doesn't like roguelikes, here's the one you need to play, and of course that is Azure Dreams for the PS1. As someone who doesn't really care for roguelikes, that is one of the best games on the PS1. I love that game so much. And the reason why, it's not because it's not a straight roguelike. It's just so much thrown at you. You've got basically this gigantic 40-level tower, and you have to scale it to the top to find out what happened to your father so many years ago. And it's basically this place where, basically treasure hunters come to try and best the tower. And what I really like about the game is it mixes roguelike, monster taming, and town management, and then even throw in a dating sim and in the same game. And I've never played sort of any dating sims at the same time. It's very, I wouldn't say it's like, the dating sim element to the game is very high. It's very brief. But it's one of those games where you can have your choice of girl depending on who you want to go to. But that's not the main focus of the game. The main focus of the game is to climb the tower and find out what happened. And the monster basically taming aspect of the game is very addictive because you find the monsters through monster eggs, and monster eggs are incredibly rare and random to the point that if you ever find one, you pretty much want to hightail out of the tower as soon as you fucking can. So,
Hmm.
and basically you do revert back to level 1, but I can't remember if it's been a while since I played the game, but I think your monster retains its level, but you do get different weapons. I think you might be able to keep your weapons and you find better weapons and you can upgrade them. All this, yeah. And it's the thing is once you get all this money, you invest it back in the town, you build new places, and there's so many mini games that the town offers. I mean, one of them that I thought was the most stupidest thing ever, but it had such charm, is you actually build a stand-up comedy theater, and you have that really bad duo comedy that that's famous in Japan
God,
sequence.
the
And it's
no,
laughable.
No, it's not.
It's laughable.
No.
It's laughable. I'm not saying it's good. It's laughable.
No.
It's incredible, especially how it was translated into English. But I can't say any other game's done it. So, and it's made by my good friends at Konami. And I kind of considered it the third sort of wheel where the PlayStation era with Konami and RPGs. Not mentioning Castlevania here, as much as I love Castlevania, basically it's Suikoden and Vandal Hearts, and then Azure Dreams, And I held in high regard, and I've been searching for it because I like the game, I really do, and it's one of those games where it has an addictive casino. You pretty much lose yourself for hours in the casino just by slot machines. So yeah, Azure Dreams. I believe there's a version on the Game Boy Color, but I've never played that, so I've heard it's different, but yeah. So back over to you, Taylor.
I see. Well, this next one I have here is for you, Sushi.
All right, I'm ready.
And that is because I want you to feel the pain. I want you to feel the torture. I want you to feel the mystery of Murasame-jo. Nazo no Murasame-jo for the NES. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Nope. Basically, this was actually meant to come out before The Legend of Zelda. However, It did not. And it plays sort of similar to it, except for imagine you are basically, I would say meandering, but instead you're running for your life through 5 different levels of kind of different, for lack of a better word, different colored areas of this kind of basic story is that you are trying to find out what the hell's going on, and basically aliens have taken over ancient Japan, or at least some of these castles. Story doesn't matter because it's not about the story. It's basically about trying to get through the levels as fast as you can without dying, yet finding the secrets that you need to level up your attack powers and stuff. This game is brutally fucking hard, but it's right up your alley to be brutally hard, and you can enjoy it and be crying tears of mercy because if you do not, I'll be straight up, if you do not get the bonuses, if you do not have certain bonuses by the end of the game, you might as well just give up. If you die at certain, you might as well just give up. It's one of those kind of things. It's nice.
So it's like a shooter, almost like one of those top-down shooters. Once you lose all the weapons, you're pretty much done.
Right. Yeah, if you
Gradius.
if you're in Gradius, it's Gradius territory there with. it's hard, but it's fun. The music, it's repetitive, but it's catchy. So I don't know. I'd say give that a go and weep.
Sounds like it'd be pretty hard to get though.
Things it only came out in Japan, but
right.
There is the kind of the Game Boy Advance kind of little Famicom version of it. So
okay,
Yeah, remaster.
yeah, definitely not remastered.
No. Straight up ports, basically.
Right. But yeah, so and it's really, really cheap. You can pick it up for
like 100 yen cheap.
We're like talking 300 to 500 yen cheap.
Oh, okay, so not much.
Right. So.
The only thing I might not want to get it on the GBA is like I found playing some old NES games on there just really hard because I'm so accustomed to the NES controller for them, right? Like if I try to play something like that, it's so awkward because it's so small holding the thing. So
Oh yeah,
probably makes it 3 times as
yeah,
hard.
probably. Which makes it even more of a reason for you to try it out.
Yeah, buy it for me. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So that is it. It's if definitely. But yeah, it was meant to come out before Zelda, and it missed the boat. And then Zelda came out, and then that game came out and bombed because it was so. It's like it would be kind of like an arcade game. It's really meant to be kind of an
Quarter muncher.
yeah. It's really meant to be that quarter muncher, and just imagine Zelda being an arcade game, and really fucking hard. So.
You have taken 2 steps. You die.
Well,
Re-enter 100 yen,
well,
please.
not nearly as
A bit like Gauntlet, like we're just constantly putting in money to stay alive.
right. Yeah,
Right.
it would be. Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, over to you there, Sushi.
All right. Well, for you, Taylor, the next one is not such a hard game, but it's a little bit challenging. And I know how much you love God Hand.
Okay.
So I tried to think of something that's sort of in the vein of that. And obviously there's not a hell of a lot because God Hand is pretty unique.
That is.
But one of the closest games I could think of, now if you can sort of get over the violence, I don't know how much that sort of, if you don't mind it or it's not really your thing, but this game would be Mad World on the Nintendo Wii. Now Mad World is by Platinum Games, and I don't know if you have any sort of history with them at all, but they make some pretty wacky games, like pretty goofy but really tight action games as well. They made Bayonetta and they made Vanquish, so they've got a pretty good backlog of games. They actually, most of those guys were part of Clover before as well, so probably half of them worked on God Hand as well. So they worked on, I presume most of them worked on Mad World as well. And Mad World's just a kind of really stylized game where everything's in black and white like an old comic strip or old black and white movie, but all of the blood is red. So you just get to put stop signs through guys' necks and stuff, and then they like stab them through things, and there's just all kinds of spikes all over the place, and garbage cans you can smash through people and all kinds of stuff. Trucks pull up purposely that have spikes on the side of them so you can throw people through them, and it's just such a goofy game. It's definitely got the God Hand feel, but now you're using the Wiimote, and it's actually pretty fun to play. You don't feel too exhausted while playing it or anything, but it's a fun game. It's definitely one of these Wii games that people were championing, like, oh, look, the Wii has violent games, and then as soon as it came out, people just sort of backed away from it for some reason. I don't know if they didn't like it or if there's some other reason, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I presume it's dirt cheap now in probably every region that it's out in. So.
I was going to joke to say it's actually the cheapest Wii game.
That doesn't surprise me. I think they published a lot of them and they just didn't sell.
I was going to say, I've seen it in stores, and I have debated picking it up.
How much was
I
it?
don't remember. This is a long time ago.
I'd be surprised if it's more than 1,000 yen.
If it is,
to be
then
honest.
I'm blaming you for everything.
Well, you should.
Okay.
We'll go hunting. We'll see if we can find it. I honestly, it's probably like 500 yen used. I wouldn't.
I'm writing this down now, and if it is a yen more, I will
do nothing.
I will file complaints.
You're welcome to. I'll have my secretary relay it to
Well,
me.
yeah. Best be prepared.
Yeah.
For the violence.
For the violence, yes. I'm ready for the horror. But yeah, I think you might like it, Taylor. I don't think it would be a game where you would probably play through it straight. I think you'd probably like pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. It's just kind of that kind of sort of game, but you might play through it as well.
Nice.
Interesting presentation, too. It's sort of set up like Running Man or Smash TV, where this guy's dropped into a game show. They sort of have that aspect to it. But that's the next one. So, Greg, what else you got for us, buddy?
I'm pretty much gonna end mine here with one last one for the both of you. I recommend this many times before because I think it's one of the most hidden gems of the 16-bit era, and I will keep saying this to my final breath.
Power Rangers the movie.
Yes! Power Rangers! No. I'm pretty much gonna meet in the middle and say you don't need to play the first game, don't need to play the second game. but James Pond 3 Operation Starfish, you both need to play that game. It's one of the best 60-bit platformers ever made. It's also one of the longest platformers in the 16-bit era. It's just, when you think you're done, there's more areas and there's different exits, and there's the secret exit you might come across that will lead to a different area. Think the same lines as Super Mario World, but tenfold.
Oh,
It's just, and not only that, it's one of those games that mocks you if you don't do everything in the game. It's like, yes, you saved the data, but you forgot this, and thus this happened and you didn't actually save the day. And this happens a lot, and to find everything in the game, I have never done it. Let's just put it that way.
Now, is there a save feature for this game, or?
I think there might be a password.
Oh,
Wow, that's...
Yeah, is that a game?
Break out my fucking notepad.
Not necessarily, but...
I can't remember if it was I'm remembering a password. Yes, it is. I'm remembering. It's coming back to me. It's incredibly fun. I really like some of the things like sometimes you reverse gravity. And it's a 2D game, so you won't get that disoriented, but you will reverse gravity. You'll have like an apple gun where you shoot apples at people. It's very charming. I really like the game, and I like the fact that you go to the moon and it's made out of Swiss cheese. It looks. It's really cool, and I love the boss fights, and yeah, it's one of the best platformers in the 60-bit era. I recommend it to not just you two, but to everyone listening. You need to play it seriously. And
Buy
man,
a Genesis now or Mega Drive.
It's actually on the Super Nintendo as well. I found it. So, strange enough, it's one of the good things EA was a part of, and I think, in my opinion, it's probably the last good game they were a part of. So, yeah, I was. I don't know. I don't know. I've never played the Super Nintendo version, but I played the Mega Drive version, and I loved it to death. I'm actually thinking, now talking about it, I want to go back to it and get that true ending.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because, yeah, it's one of those things I just need to finish. And that's pretty much me. I'm tapping out.
All right.
I see. Okay, well, this one's actually directed towards you, Greg. I don't know if you have or have not. I know you've played some of the later games, but the Super Nintendo versions of the Romancing Saga games, or the Super Famicom.
I have played 3.
You have played 3.
I gotta say, I would say I've played 2 hours of 3.
Well, you need to play more than just 2 hours of 3.
I enjoyed the little bit because I was playtesting a couple of Super Famicom games, and I've always wanted to play Romancing Saga. It's always been on my mind. There's just something about it that interests me. Number 3 is really awesome.
It is.
The battle scene I thought would be very reminiscent of Suikoden, but it's a lot more complicated and it's a lot more difficult.
The games are really hard because you can't just sit around and grind your way to victory, because what happens is if you do too many fights, if you fight so many fights, the enemies also level up. And eventually it gets to a point where you're not able to beat them and you are screwed. So you have to plan this shit out appropriately, which adds a little bit of it's a nice little challenge to it, but it's also very frustrating because you have to avoid enemies, because it's not just random encounters. They have them on the screen, so you run into them and you're like,
I think that's just the key point for the Saga series in general. Not talking about the original Saga games, but for like from what I've heard from Romancing Saga, and most definitely Saga Frontier, there's always one element to the game that just bites you in the ass. Yeah. I loved Saga Frontier 2. That's one of the best games on the PS1. I would probably go as far as say some of the best 2D graphics in a video game. It's beautiful, but fuck me, if you don't play that game right, you will get to a point of the game where you're done and you'll have to go back to the start of the game. And at that point, you're like, nah.
Well,
so
the really cool. Like three is so damn good, and the music's just wonderful. Like as a whole, 2 is really interesting because it's a generational thing. So you could
Yeah.
actually get slaughtered in a fight, and what happens instead is that you kind of just get shittier versions of randomized characters if you don't complete the generation. So so it's kind of interesting in that regard, where it's not just oh well they died, game over. Oh, you died, well here you get to go 100 years down the road to some crappier people because you sucked and couldn't get through it a couple 100 years ago. So I don't know. I like one. I'm not the biggest fan of one. One is it's all right. I like it, but it's not like oh my god, one. It's more I really enjoy 2 and 3. So yeah.
Yeah, the Saga ones have always interest me. It's just interesting that you say that now of all times because in the fan translation community they just succeeded in fully translating Saga 3 on the DS.
Nice. But that's
Yeah.
the Saga 3 on the DS is the Game Boy version of Final Fantasy. What the hell? Legend. Yeah, Legend, which is another equally awesome fucking game. I mean, the shit you do in it and the music in that is just great. But
It goes to show there's still a fan base, even though it might be not as big, it's still a fan base for Saga.
dude, on YouTube, you can actually find on YouTube there is a song from Legend 3, Legend 3 that is called the motherfucking Talon theme. Like straight, because the motherfucking Talon theme is awesome. Check it out.
Alrighty, I will.
So over to you, Sushi.
All right, I will continue to bombard Greg with some more recommendations. And Greg, the next one for you is a pretty straightforward one, and I'm going to suggest that you should try to play through Heavy Rain, just because of your interest in movies.
Yeah, it's just to be perfectly honest, I'm definitely gonna play Heavy Rain. The same guys did was it that Fahrenheit game?
Yes, that was Indigo Prophecy, I think, in the West. So.
Yeah, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way for some reasons, and that's
It
kind of put me...
starts well and then it gets funky. Heavy Rain does not do that, though.
No, so I've always wanted to play Heavy Rain, and there is no excuse because it's actually getting cheaper and cheaper. No, I will not get the Move version. There is the Move version of it.
You should get the Move version just because then you don't have to download. If you do not buy that version, you still have to download like the patch for it.
Oh.
If it's already on the disc, then you don't have to download it and put it onto your system to play the game. So
okay, cool.
It's not actually like
compulsory.
It's not a compulsory thing. It's just they already added it to there because I bought the game after not knowing about the Move thing myself, and then I had to download it wasn't much, but it still takes up some space. So.
Oh man. Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. That doesn't mean like you have to use the Move on it or anything.
Cool. I'll get around to it. Cool.
Yeah, so I think you'd probably like Heavy Rain. Just, again, because you really like films. So I think it'd probably go well for you.
Absolutely.
Nice. So back to you, Taylor.
Okay, well, this one's for you, Sushi. And that is Terranigma. I'll just say it.
I kind of wanted to avoid Terranigma, but I think, I'm going to concur with Taylor. You really need to play Terranigma. It's the defining RPG of the Super Nintendo.
It is a really, really enjoyable game. And it's I'm trying to think of how long it took me to beat when I played it last. I don't know, it's not too horribly lengthy. It's about 20 to 25 hours at most.
Yeah,
it
is.
But it's just a really kind of cool way to do it, and I don't know, I hate Illusion of Gaia.
And I love Illusion of Gaia.
Well,
so.
This has...
I'm indifferent for Illusion of Gaia.
It has nothing... It's done by the same group, Quintet there. That's the third game in it. I mean, you had Soul Blazer and then Illusion of Gaia, and you gotta wrap up the quote-unquote trilogy. So...
Mm-hmm.
But man, they came in guns blazing and just the best.
It's just so good.
But for me, it was weird because I played it in reverse. I played Terranigma reverse, then I played Illusion of Time, Illusion of Gaia, and then it was only last year that I finished Soul Blazer. So, yeah, it was weirder for me. But I think for me, I knew that at the end of the rainbow, it would be awesome. So going back, so
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really cool way to kind of, I don't want to say rehash, but they all carry the same kind of themes in some regards. So it's, I don't know. It's just play Terranigma.
well, I just very, very quickly, better characters. I really like the characters of Terranigma. Better music, just better world, and just how the game progresses. I really like it. Just the one thing you'll just find really neat is doing the side quest to go back and forth between towns and seeing them progress and get better. I loved that. That was one of the best parts of that
It's
game.
really good. Like, it doesn't have some of the kooky ass puzzles that Illusion of Gaia had, because some of those puzzles are just really, no, I don't want to think about it. but
It's, every time I think of Illusion of Time, I think about that Russian roulette. For some odd reason, first thing that comes into my mind. So
I don't know, if you can find a way to play it there, Sushi, I would say give it a go, because it's just, I don't know.
and speaking
I
of,
think nefarious means might be the only way.
Well, I mean, there's
Well,
the PAL region, so...
well, and there's
I'd
also
have to go to the
there's
trouble to get
also
the system.
there's also reproduction cards, but you know, Nintendo, for goodness sake, why wasn't that on the Virtual Console? I mean, Terranigma is one of those retro games that deserves a digital life on the Virtual Console.
Deserves a way to be
it is.
played in North America legitimately. God damn it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Absolutely.
Seriously, that game actually made me kind of start to enjoy action RPGs. If and Illusion of Gaia destroyed it at first, so play it, Sushi.
I'll try to.
So okay, back to you.
All right, I'll go back to you, Taylor. Now, here's a game that I know you enjoyed as a kid, or remember playing at least as a kid, and that was Bionic Commando.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know too much about it, but there was a remake that had come out. It was a downloadable version of it.
That was on the 360 or something, or
It was on the 360 and the PS3. It was Bionic Commando Rearmed. And they did a really good job of bringing this back to life. They did an excellent job. I think the team's name was Grin. I don't think they exist anymore, but they did a good job of updating it. Really nice new coat of paint with the graphics, and the music is updated really well. They added some sort of new game mechanics, like now the claw can grab barrels and throw them and stuff, and really, really fun. You can have 2 players as well, which is really cool. And they did just a bang-up job on it. Like, there's not too much to complain about it. They really went hard on it. They did the best that they could, and it's a really fun game. As much as I like the NES version, I really enjoyed this one a lot more.
Huh. Yeah, I kind of thought that game kind of got deadpanned by a lot of people. I thought a lot of people weren't really thrilled about how that ended up being, or
It's possible.
am I
but,
misremembering things?
I remember reviews being pretty solid for it.
Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering.
But no, maybe the general public conception of it wasn't very good, but I thought it was really good. And if you can, I don't know if the Japanese PSN would have that or not, but if you can get it, it might be worth looking into if you really like Bionic Commando that much.
I see. Okay.
So back to you.
All right, Greg, have you played Parasite Eve?
I've played Parasite Eve 2.
Okay, you did
but
play
I've-
2. Why did you not play 1?
because it wasn't released in the PAL regions.
Ah, god damn it, these regions. Fuck these regions.
Yeah, it's,
Ugh.
but
Break
yeah.
the walls.
Break the walls down. Okay.
But I have watched a lot of videos of Parasite Eve 1, and I haven't watched all of it because I didn't want to spoil all of it. But it's really interesting, and especially for its time. When I look at when it was made, I got to say that's pretty impressive for Squaresoft. So yeah,
Well, yeah, some people kind of knock it as being a bit of a demo reel for how Final Fantasy VIII would kind of end up using some of the character models and stuff very similarly.
yeah, I can understand that.
That and the transition, because yeah, two kind of comes out more as like an RPG as opposed to how the first one is in regards to how the kind of controls and the gameplay is, but I would say if you have a chance to somehow play one, I know you have ways to get the North American PSNs. I would say at least give it a go. I enjoy it. I recommend it to people. So.
I'll have to get around to it one day, but yeah, it's on my list along with Wild Arms 2. And in terms of the NTSC only RPGs I missed as a kid, because the last couple of years I've managed to play a lot of them. Was it the last one I beat was Threads of Fate, so that would be probably the next one up. Even though I need to also beat Chrono Cross.
Yeah, you do. So, back over to you there, Sushi.
All right, I'm going to. I've still got a handful here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rapid fire my recommendations to Greg,
All right.
and then I'll pass it back to you, Taylor, and then I'll just, I guess, throw mine to you after. Is that all right? Or
Certainly.
just so we don't take too much longer with this. So, Greg, the last couple here I have are some goofy ones and some legitimate ones. Now, a couple of the goofy ones here. The first one would be Time Killers, which was a absolutely ridiculous fighting game. I don't know. Do you know Time Killers at all?
No. What system was it on?
It was an arcade game, but it actually got a release on the Mega Drive and the Genesis. And I've heard it's horrible on there. So but the arcade game is just so stupid. It's basically one of the first fighting games to use weapons, like weapon-based fighters. And so you've got this concept is that death has taken people from different centuries and stuff to put them into a death match, see who can come out on top, basically. So you've got like a knight from the Camelot realm. You've got you have like two like space commando type characters, if I remember. You have an alien from the future which has like a buzzsaw for a hand. You have like this guy, I think his name is Leaf, and he's a big Viking dude. You have a samurai. You have a guy from the future who uses a chainsaw. But the thing that this game did was it tried to use uber violence by having the ability to cut limbs off. So let's say you're fighting the first round and you cut off a guy's arm in the first round. Well, he still has his arm missing in the second round, and then you could have like there's like instant deaths in the game. You can like chop someone's head off instantly, like with the first move. It's just such a random, weird fighter, but it's just it kind of stinks at the same time.
I'm going to give this award for the number one Mega Drive game that passed me by, and I can understand why. It was released in '96.
Okay, so it's really late.
Like,
just a tiny bit
late.
I think it was. I think the arcade game's way before that, so it must have just been like, we should put Time Killers on the Genesis.
Keep it alive. We got to keep it alive.
Right.
Oh,
well,
man,
they should bring it back.
Oh man, I'm looking at the graphics.
It's super cheesy. It's super cheesy.
Yeah.
But Time Killers, it's just a goofy one for you there. Next up, though, I have is Earth Defense Force. I don't know if you've played.
Yeah, I have not played them, but I've nearly bought the Vita version.
Right. I haven't played that particular game. I've played Insect Armageddon, but the one on the Vita looks pretty much the same. It's just basically you get online or play solo or with friends that are nearby, shoot a bunch of bugs, have some fun. Kind of competition, but not to the point of where you're like screaming at each other or anything. That's what I like about it. It's just get some buddies together and we're going to kill the bad guys kind of thing.
Yeah.
Starship
I know.
Trooper style.
It is
It
like
is.
Starship
It
Troopers
is.
in a lot of ways. Kind of B-movie feel to it. Taylor, you might kind of like it. I mean, I could kind of see you getting a bit bored with it, though.
It's
Yeah,
got
just-
a bit of a it's kind of a bit of a following in Japan for that. They can't get enough of Earth Defense Force.
Yeah, it's got a kind of a following, I think, in a lot of places. So it's a pretty fun game. I enjoyed it. So that one's there, too. I have from the NES back in the day, River City Ransom. This one's for you, too, Taylor, I guess.
I will say this now. If there was one game for the NES that I would be excited to play, that I really want to play, it's River City Ransom. Because
Yeah.
I've seen so many videos, and I've even gone into finding out where it came from. It's a part of the Kunio series,
Kunio, yeah.
which has a lot of games, and I'm really interested with games that have a lot of I wouldn't say backstory, but a lot of releases, and is popular but it's never been released outside Japan. I want to know why that is, and yeah, I get a kick out of doing all that. And Cuneo series is one of those types of games that I would like to one day sit down and play some of the games, but mainly River City Ransom would be the one that I would play.
Well, you're in
the
luck
fact-
because you can buy the GBA version, which is slightly updated, and it's you can get it from any region and play it. So
Just the thought of
the same
having
game. It's the same game as the NES, just a little different.
just having a beat 'em up with RPG elements is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So that one there too. 3 left, real quick. Alpha Protocol, which is a game. I think it's by is
Oblivion.
it Obsidian? Is it Oblivion?
No, Oblivion.
Obsidian?
Obsidian. Yeah.
Obsidian. So have you played that? It just reeks of like Sega cheese. That's the only reason why I'm recommending it to you. It has just got bad voice acting, goofy story. So much of it just reeks of like 90s Sega.
It's one of those games that it's always in front of me when I go to a game store, and it keeps going down and down
cheap,
and down, and it's just like there's always something else.
It's like $5-10. It's not an expensive game, but it just reeks of that really bad Sega cheesiness that I know you like, so you'd probably like it.
Come on, they put the fact it's an RPG on the front case.
Well, they
Alpha
do,
Protocol,
but
the espionage RPG.
there's only so much RPG in that game. So.
Yeah.
So yeah. The last two here though, Lunar Nights, which is part of the Boktai series, kind of the last one.
I own it.
Okay, have you played it?
I love that game. I still need to beat it, but I love Lunar Nights. The only reason is that I always kicked myself that I couldn't get Boktai, because Boktai was released on that period where I was starting to get an income, where just before the release of Boktai, I was still relying on birthday presents and doing odd jobs around the house, so I couldn't buy many games. And Boktai was one of those games that I desperately wanted as a kid, just because the bizarreness of the cartridge that you needed to use the sunlight. I thought, oh my god, this is awesome. And it retains that isometric view that Landstalker uses. And the fact it was made by Konami, all these together made me
Kojima
excited.
particularly.
And yeah, Kojima, I was really excited. Never happened. And one day I
don't
came
get too
across
excited. It's a good game, but it's not that great. Like it's fun, but it's also extremely frustrating.
Yeah, but I came across a really cheap copy, complete of Lunar Nights one day, and said, "Yeah, that's mine."
Lunar
really,
Nights is good.
It is. I love it. I love the combat system, just the design. It's really good.
Yeah, you might like that one too, actually, Taylor. It takes out the whole sun aspect. It's just all in-game stuff. Plays a lot like Zelda in a lot of ways, so pretty fun. And finally, sorry, go ahead.
No. I see.
Finally, for you, Greg, the last one would be the Star Tropics games. Again, just because they're kind of like Zelda, but they add a lot of goofy sort of humor and a little bit of time traveling element in the second game. And I think those might be something you'd like.
Very interesting splice of gameplay, different gameplay with Star Tropics. I read a intensive article about that game because everyone was hailing it. It's like, oh, this seems really interesting, actually. I know so many people are like begging for a remake or a sequel, which I don't. When I look at the game, it looks like it's one of those games that is of that time.
Yeah,
but,
I don't.
But you never know, because they said the same thing about Kid Icarus, and look what happened. So.
Yeah, Star Tropics would be a hard one to bring to the current generation for sure. Yeah. But I guess anything's possible. So, but that's it for me, Greg. So.
Alrighty. Yeah,
so back to you, Taylor.
Say, I've played. I remember playing a bunch of the first one. I never played the second one. I never really cared for it.
That damn octopus. Oh, that part was frustrating.
Oh god, yeah.
When you've got just that yo-yo and you're just like, ah! And the jumping mechanics kind of stinky. And
yeah,
second game fixes a lot of that stuff. Second game's fun.
As it say, I could never really get into Star Tropics.
The time travel aspect in the second game's cool. You meet like Sherlock Holmes and stuff, and you go to the Wild West, and it's kind of fun. It's got a really neat motif to it.
I see. Oh,
but back to you.
Back to me. I guess I'll pile on with Greg. You, Greg, have to play Vantage Master.
Japan. Well, let me say this now. Let me say this now. It's gonna happen.
Okay, good.
It's gonna with how everything is going for me right now. As much as it's cool that you're all recommending me this stuff, my budget will allow me to definitely buy Vantage Master without fail.
And
That's just gonna happen.
if you'd like to try out Vantage Master 2 there, Sushi, you can go right ahead. The hexagonal strategy RPG-ness to it, that is just it's a bit of a headache sometimes, but it's good
It's
to
damning.
yeah, damning's the word.
I've seen it played. I can't wait to play it and fail.
Yeah, so definitely it's good to kind of dabble in and try for yourself with the just being a hexagonal strat RPG. There's not too horribly many of those that I can think of off the top of my head. You have XF, Wild Arms XF, and
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that is the most difficult strategy RPG ever. Wild Arms XF, so... that's why I'm interested to play Vantage Master and see if it matches up, it's worse or it's more easier. But the reason I'm probably going to get it most definitely is because of the cameos.
oh yeah.
And being one of the biggest Falcom fans in the world, I gotta have Vantage Master for the cameos.
And
So-
another game that, though it wasn't made by Falcom, they released it in Japan. It was actually made by a Korean company, and that is Arcturus, The Curse and Loss of Divinity.
Yeah.
That's a PC game as well, and it is weird. It's like the graphical style of it reminds me of Ragnarok Online a little bit to an extent. It's got the the Korean game artistic style to it, which I don't know how else to describe it that way, but it's an interesting game. It's hard, that's for sure. I myself haven't beaten it yet. I've probably gotten about halfway through it or so. It's interesting. It's definitely different, but it's one of those that Falcom puts its name on it and has kind of pushed it out in Japan. So I mean,
Same with the Rhapsody of Zephyr.
yeah. So
Zephyr.
gotta have it, Greg.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. It doesn't matter if they made it or they lent themselves to some way. If Falcom sees a product that they're willing to put their name on and support, then I trust their judgment.
So yeah, and I don't know if you have played it or not, but I think you might have a little bit. But Radiant Historia for the DS.
I really want to play it, but every time I go to buy it's
hefty.
always out of. It's always out of stock.
Ah.
It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna no, and I'm just like, you know what? I think I might not be able. It's not destined to play it.
I know Sushi isn't the biggest fan of it, but
Not really, no.
I really liked it. I will still stick by it. For me, it's kind of a blend of Chrono Trigger and Xenogears. So, and to me, that's just a wonderful, nice little package of a game. So, yeah.
Absolutely. If one day I've got the spare money and it's available, then sure.
So yeah, those are my last recommendations for Greg there. So over to you then, Sushi.
All right, so I only have a few left for you two, Taylor.
All right.
So one interesting one here that is just very, very different than most of the things I'm aware of that you play would be Flower on the PSN. I don't know, do you know anything about this game? Or?
Other than... Actually, no. Not a damn thing.
Okay, so basically you're a petal from a flower and you're kind of the wind. And it's kind of like it's almost like a racing simulator a little bit in a way. If you can believe that. It's sort of like that. You use the controller to tilt where you're going to move the petal and you hold the button down to sort of fly forward and you're just collecting petals. It's just such a relaxing, calming experience.
Yeah. If you actually, I read the interview with the developers, that was the point. It was meant to be a relaxing, soothing game. I downloaded the demo and I was interested in playing it to see what the fuss was about. But I'm not saying it was a bad game, but it wasn't enough for me to go buy the full version. It's just, yeah.
Greg doesn't want to expand his mind, that's why.
I expand my mind with just, I know, an endless ocean of flowers and grass. Yeah.
Beautiful colors, whimsical music. I really liked it. I don't know if a lot of other people, I think a lot of people probably looked at it like, what a stupid concept, what a stupid idea, but I really liked it. I think it was very bold of them to try something like that.
Did they make Journey? Was it the same?
They also made Journey, yeah.
Yeah, because
and
I
Flow.
really want to because I really want to play Journey. I think that game looks amazing.
Well, you should play Flower first.
Well, in the power regions, we actually got treated to a physical copy of
All three
Flower.
in there, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's,
Journey.
that's everywhere, as far as I know.
Oh, okay, I thought it was just us.
At least North America.
No, and Australia as well. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to play it, that's definitely the way I'm going to play it.
Yeah, no, that's probably a good idea. Just pick that up. Get the 3 games. So. But yeah, Taylor, I think it's something very different, and I know you do sometimes enjoy games that are very, very different than other things. So, and it's not a long game. I think it's maybe 5 hours at the most. So it's very short. Just really nice idea, simple gameplay, something you can pick up anytime and play again. That's what I like about it. All right. After that, we have a wonderful mashup on the GBA, and that is Double Dragon Advance. I know you love Double Dragon, so I think you should give this game a shot. It plays a lot more like the arcade style, though, so you can't really just decimate the guys in the game. You really do have to have some concept of your strategy and how you're going to move, but there's just so many moves in this game. They do have the knee, but it's sort of powered differently. You have to crouch now to do it and
Nerfed
stuff.
the knee.
Sort of, like the way it's set up, you can't just continually do it, because if you try to crouch, and as soon as you crouch, the guys will do like an uppercut to knock you back and stuff. They did a really good job of making it difficult for you to beat the game.
Oh, okay.
But you can still do a lot of cheat moves, like you can just kind of kick guys twice and they fly back and fly off edges and stuff. But there's a lot of guys to fight in this game. There's some new weapons. There's like those Kali sticks, and it's just like and you're like beating the guys down and stuff, and it's pretty fun. And you can throw boulders at guys, and it's a fun game. It's pretty cool.
I see us.
So that one, good remake. It's got good remixes of songs from the first game, the second game, probably other games I'm not even remembering. So good little package. So got that one. We also have just a few left, and that is Rocket Knight Adventures, or Sparkster, on the Mega Drive. I know you like platform games, so this is a really good platform game that's unique in its own way. With our hero Sparkster, he can sort of fly a little bit in the game, and he can hang off of trees with his tail because he's a possum, and he can use his sword, and his sword's got a little bit like a Zelda energy shot, sort of, that goes not too far, but a little bit on screen. There's a few flying stages that are reminiscent of old shooting games and stuff, so it's a really cool game. Really good mix-up of a game by Konami.
It's one of my favorite Konami games, and I lost my mind where I went into my retro store one day and he had 2 copies to sell. And oh my god, I was just like, done. It was only 2 seconds. I slammed it on the counter. I'm going home. I'm playing it. It's so good. It's one of my childhood favorites.
I presume not too expensive in Japan, especially being a Mega Drive game. So.
Yeah.
Really nice graphics, too.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I really like the design. I really like the enemies, the hogs.
Yeah, you're beating up a bunch of pigs. So a bunch of pig guys. It's pretty. They look pretty funny when you hit them. So they're like, "Rah!" And they're like,
Ah.
they flash and stuff. Some pretty good animations in there, and not too hard a game. It's hard, but not like deathly hard. So we got that one. We also have, now here's a couple of games that I want you to play just so you can tear your hair out. One is Super Highlight.
Oh,
This game stinks.
have you completely beaten it? Or won't say completely beaten it at all, because I don't see many people actually ever completely beating
No,
Super
I
Highlight.
played some of it. It's a confusing game. You really have to know what's going on. I got the game as a cart only, so I had no instructions. I had no internet. I had no idea how to play this game. So it's a tough game.
Oh man, I got to talk about that game because I owned it for like 4 years, and when my dad sold all my Mega Drive games, that was one of them. And not
Good
many
on your
people
dad.
Yeah,
Way to go, Dad.
one of the highlight
Rescue
series
Greg.
is a series that I've always wanted to review on my channel because I like to talk about the more obscure RPGs, and I've played two highlight games, and I will say this now.
Too many.
Yeah, and I will say
It's-
this now. As Sushi has pretty much said, they haven't aged well, and Super Highlight has one of the worst final bosses ever in a game. Just because I couldn't figure out how to beat him, until like I got the internet and they told how to beat him, and I thought that was completely retarded. How you have to defeat the final boss. It's not based off level. It's what something certain you have to do. And I'm just like,
based off of
That's-
heart, right?
completely bullshit.
It's got an equipment element though that if you go over your weight limit, your guy moves as slow as molasses. And
Yeah.
at first, if you don't know what that means, like when I was playing for the first time, I was like, "Why is he walking so slow?" And it's such a frustrating game.
And you have to take food into consideration.
Right, you have
which
to
is-
take food. It's just it's
and
such
I
a
know. I will
bullshit
say this
game.
now. You may have played other RPGs that may have had a food element. It's the most challenging food element game that I've ever played. You don't have the right amount of food, you're fucked. Pretty much. You
But
might
the
as
problem is then you have to balance that with weapons that you have because you don't have weapons, then you die right away. And it's like, ugh,
But
such
yeah.
a shitty game.
Not many people know about it, so it's cool that I know someone else that's played it and has suffered. the
Fortunately,
swings of it.
Greg, I have played it.
Have you played Virtual Hardline?
I've seen it. It looks amazing. That's like a $1 game on the Saturn because it's such a pile of shit.
But you know, for the time, because it's the
It makes
first
Mr. Bones look like a masterpiece.
But for its time, this is the first Saturn game I ever played, and back when I was a kid,
Oh,
I
God.
thought it was the greatest thing ever. I played it 10 years later, and I thought, oh my god, this looks like shit.
Taylor,
Like-
it's Aiden
like-
Chronicles with live actors, basically.
No, the thing is that I really liked is it's one of the first games to push like, not even, it didn't even use like in-game polygons. They kind of, what's
They
that
use the
technology?
actors, like
Yeah,
Mortal
yeah.
Kombat sort of does.
Mortal Kombat, yeah, but instead it had the sort of the back view and all that. When I fought the vampiric boss and you like move forward towards him and like if you catch him in a corner and you see his image sort of blown up on the screen, most pixelated thing in a video game. It's like, what the fuck?
This is like a $1 game in every country in the world, I think now. It's just so bad. It's just such
It
Ugh.
is, but I because I've had so many experiences with the highlight games, I've wanted to do a video on it for so long.
well, you should just so you can warn people.
Yeah, exactly.
Public service announcement: stay away from
And Super
highlight.
Highlight is such a weird fucking game because you begin the game and it's a medieval game. Then there's a
Right.
part of the game that takes place in space and
Of course,
you
there
have
is.
space armor. And then
And
you have a
space
look and it's basically an astronaut suit. Space armor my ass.
Highlight franchise. That's one that's good and dead, thankfully now.
Yeah.
So Taylor, you should play that. You should also play Last Battle, which is like a goofy Sega knockoff of Fist of the North Star on the Genesis. Just such a dumb game. It's kind of fun. It's just totally mediocre. I'm not even going to say too much about it. We should just move on. The last one here, well, I have two, but I'm going to just kind of cut that one out because we've talked about it before. It was Panzer Dragoon Saga. The last one is one I've mentioned to you before, and that is Kickle Cubicle, a good NES puzzle game that I think you would enjoy a lot.
I've seen gameplay of it and stuff. I think I would probably like it, but I just have to find it. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's common in Japan or not, but I presume it wouldn't be too expensive if you found it. It kind of harkens back to the sort of, I can't even think of like another game right off the top of my head, but it's a good little puzzle game. So yeah, back to you, Taylor.
I really didn't have anything other than just to say that you Sushi need to play the Lufia series.
Oh, I've played one.
Well, you need to play 2 and 3.
To Rise of the Sinistrals, you need to play that.
All right, and Taylor, you need to play Ruins of Lore.
No, I don't, because that game's
Yes, you do. Because if I have to play 2 and 3, you have to play 4.
That's like saying, here, eat
That's a
this.
fair
No,
trade.
that's not a fair
Actually,
trade. That is the
Same
worst
scale.
fucking trade. No.
Here, eat this donut, and I'll eat this piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's the worst fucking trade in the history of
Come on,
trades.
man.
Yeah, it's one of the worst, one of the most disappointing GBA games I've ever
Experience.
purchased. It was so
Wait,
bad.
You
It was.
expect-
It's not a bad game. It's not really broken. It's just sucks. It's just bad. Like it's just
It's
not
some-
interesting. It's not good. It's just
and those designs in battle. I look at how they position their legs, and I'm like,
Right,
is
and
that
they shift slowly and stuff, and then it's
it's
so
like
bad.
is that even possible for people to position
They
their legs that way? It
they
just
tried to
looks
go in with the Pokemon aspect of like catching random spiders and stuff. Like they just did a very poor job.
well. To be honest, it was sort of I kind of associated monsters more with Lufia than Pokemon because of Rise of the Sinistrals with those monsters you find.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I was going to say, in the second one, you do have this thing where you find certain monsters that actually team up with you, and they are pretty helpful. So,
Well, key term you just said, certain monsters. Runes of Lore was just like, oh, I could probably use a harness that spider, and maybe like it's just so random. It doesn't play
well,
well
outside
at all.
of Ruins of Lore and the re-envisioning of 2, we'll just disregard those.
Luffy is in trouble.
Well, Luffy,
I'll say that. Let's say that much.
it was,
Luffy is
it
in trouble.
was, yeah, it was in trouble when that re-envisioning hit the streets, unfortunately.
I will say this very quickly about Rise of the Sinistrals. If you like doing like the ridiculous boss side quests before the age of the PS1, I think Lufia 2 was like one of the crowning
It has an
game.
incredibly addictive thing called like what the hell is it called? It's the
The Ancient
Agent Cave, right. It's this 100-floor just randomizing dungeon that you can go through, and you'll get certain chests that you can actually use for going through again and stuff. And then you get to this final boss. It's ridiculous in that area, but
Yeah.
but
It's funny though. It's hilarious.
it is funny, but it's just kind of like, God, because you have to beat it within like 5 turns or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
You go down there and you also have to find the iris treasures and you keep bringing them back up. So basically, for me and my family, it became the game to play. It's like, oh, you're going to play for the story? No, we're just going to the ancient cave. And they did that for 2 months.
Yeah, so I mean, a game within a game kind of thing. Though.
It is. And then you've got some other nice, like really good casino, and you got the egg dragon battle.
And honestly, it's probably a game with one of the best endings for an RPG, I think. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just really good one. And 3, I'll tackle 3 in there as well, just because it's so much better than Runes of Lore. But
3 was one I
Yeah.
definitely encountered and was gonna buy, and then I forget why I didn't buy it.
it's kooky. It's the battle system's really weird, and it's a hard game. They don't treat you nicely in that game. The bosses are really brutal, but it's just a nice kind of, you get to hear like the Game Boy Color version of Lufia music, and it's just a really fun experience. So
I can't remember if I'm drawing a blank here, but wasn't there a Lufia game on the PlayStation?
not that I'm aware of.
I don't
Um,
think so.
I don't think so. I think it might have been one of those that they wanted to make, but could have backed out.
I
at
think
last
that's
minute.
what you're referring to. I think the Legend Returns was meant to be PlayStation, but for whatever reason it got put to the Game Boy Color.
Reduced down to the cheapest.
Reduced.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
may-
big drop.
I think it was the platform change. It's like, well, the Game Boy Color's the new thing. We better jump on that.
I don't know what the hell
Um,
Natsume was thinking, but they wanted some serious fun and decided that the Game Boy Color was what is meant to be. I think also it was just too costly for them to do it for whatever reason. Probably they were like, fuck it, we'll just make it on the Game Boy Color. Still fun game.
And then maybe they were like, well, we've already programmed these Harvest Moon games. We could just River King.
But yeah,
Hey, Game Boy was their bread and butter for a while.
so
I
yeah.
can't believe River King is on the Virtual Console for 3DS. That's the most random thing ever.
Come on, Nintendo. But yeah, that's it. So definitely, yeah, if you guys have any to recommend us or whatnot, if you like those recommendations we threw out to each other that you'd like to try, be our guest. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is that. Alright, so we're going to do a game here. And so I've got the list up now. So Sushi. Not you. Go away. But Greg.
I win.
Greg, pick a number 1 through 27.
You may lose yet, Sushi. I'm gonna pick 14.
14. Yeah. 14. Games with the letter S.
Oh, you know, we have done this one already, Taylor.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The last time that we did TGS.
Oh,
We actually did letter S.
well then we'll bump it. Well, 14. Well, the next one is. Well, if we omit that one, the next one is actually games with the letter F. F.
Okay.
Yes. So okay, fine. We'll just I'm bumping it down. What technically would be 14 now is now games with the letter F.
I love the emphasis on F.
F.
F. Fantastic.
For fuck me. uh,
Whew,
Hoorah.
okay, F. Yeah, this is gonna be. Okay, well, let's see how it goes.
so,
Oh.
Greg, start us off. 5 seconds,
fax-
Greg. 5 seconds.
Hey, fuck you in your 5 seconds. I said Faxen.
Fire nice, asshole.
Of course, Fire. Not said to come on. I will go with Fire Emblem.
I'll go with Final Fantasy.
And I will.
That knocks out a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot there. I honestly have no idea. I'm done. I really.
Okay. So, Greg then?
No, it's you.
Me again? Oh, okay. Let's go with Final Fight.
Shit, you just stole mine. Fahrenheit.
Front Mission?
Nice. I will go with Fatal Labyrinth.
Ooh, pretty stinky Genesis game. Let's go with Feel the Magic on the DS.
And I shall go with Fairy Tale for the Genesis.
Folklore for the PS3.
I will go with 5.
No. It's been like 7 seconds already there. I'm counting.
Damn it. You and your 5 fucking
Hey,
seconds.
quit prolonging it. Out.
Out.
Out. Sushi, give one. Out.
Yeah.
F-Zero.
There. Sushi wins. None of this.
Yeah, Sushi wins. Sushi wins. I was just... Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not... There you go.
I was going to throw out Fat Princess at one point.
None of this prolonging nonsense. Mr. RPG Swagman.
Twiddling his thumbs. Let me see.
And
There could have been a game called Fabulous Freaks or something.
Fantastic 5.
I have
Fuckball.
Well, there was a Fantastic Four game on the
any
PS1.
clue on
Yeah.
games outside of
Fatal Fury.
Oh, Fatal Fury.
I said earlier Flower, honestly.
Oh. Yeah, no, there's not a lot.
Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten
Fantasia.
Realms, yeah. Fantasia, yeah.
There's plenty. It's just we're probably a little tired at this point. So
Yeah. At least I'm second.
Fable.
I'm like,
Fable.
Well, like I said, I don't play as many games as you guys, so... Jeez.
So Taylor wins.
Taylor wins. I win reverse way.
and wins
Somehow he
and
wins.
not playing much.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it also doesn't help that, like, I seriously have played more games in Japanese than English,
Right.
so...
That does make it a little tough sometimes.
But still awesome.
You got Fire and Ice in there.
That's all that matters,
to you.
exactly. That's Fire and Ice.
And I got Fax Senator, so I'm happy. Seriously, if one of you would have said it before me, I probably would have had a plane ticket to hit you. Bam! I can only mention that.
Often, not quite. Hey, that's an NES game, so back off.
It is.
So,
It was actually one of the only NES games I actually owned. Little did I know at the time it was a Falcom game. The day I actually found that out, my little heart was just like, oh my god, I played a Falcom game back in the day! So, yeah.
but yeah, guys, that is it for episode something. I don't know what that we barely number these things, anyways.
Yeah.
That's it. So, thanks for listening, guys, and have a good day.